Hello and welcome to the Chevy Nova 7374 Nova Hour. It's been a long time since I've done this and interacted with anyone. I'm trying a new setup here and trying a different angle. I'm David Meyer. I'm one of the admins of Chevy Nova 7374. And of course, my 73 Nova, that's one of the other reasons why I moved the camera too, because I didn't want anybody to, be staring at a Mustang. So let's see if the chat comes up. Hopefully I don't have to restart this. Man, I really don't like that new Facebook streaming stuff. Well, it says here we're going. We're giving her, and here are the comments. It doesn't look like anybody's online. So right now I'm talking to myself. So, hey guys, what's up? What's happening? I'm just going to go on the group here quickly because, first and foremost, there are some people to thank. And okay, now it says it's 8 o'clock, so hey, I'm a little early. Better early than late, in some cases. And of course, now my internet seems to be kind of acting funny. So hey, if you're watching, send a hi, send something in chat. Hopefully you can hear me. I don't have the mic that close to me. Let me know if I need to yell. It says I've been online for about 10 seconds. Yeah, so here we go. Oh, I can't find what I want here. So again, my name's David Meyer, one of the admins of Chevy Nova 7374. I'd like to also take a moment to acknowledge Will Hamlet, our founder of the group, Craig Iben, Jeff Van Camp, Rex Koflak, and Kim Whiteacre, hopefully I'm pronouncing that all right, and Craig Iben, the other admins of the group who have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes and keeping this forum, all straight and all that, everything going well. When you do join our group, you do go through a vigorous screening process where we want to see a picture of your car. We want to make sure that you are an owner, because this group is kind of locked down to the 73, 74 Nova owners. We don't really, I don't say we don't want, trollers or fans of or enthusiasts of the 73, 74, but we're trying to keep this group more based on people who have the cars, who are looking for information on the cars, tips, tricks, and how they, get things fixed. So that's why the group is kind of locked down for that. However, there are other 73, 74 Nova groups that are a little more open and, not so strict in the rules. If you find that, this group may be a little too strict for what you want, there's always the other group. We will welcome you there too. And of course, we also have the X-Body group, the, 73, 74 GM X-Body, Nova, Omega, Ventura, Apollo for our corporate cousins. So I don't see any chats here yet. So I'm wondering if anybody's getting this. Let's take a look at the dashboard. It says I got 6 viewers. Oh, it says I do have some reactions, but I have no comments. So let me sorry about this, guys, as I'm caught a little off guard. It's been a while since, I've done a stream, so I'm a little rusty here. And let's close my chat. All right. Okay, here's the video here. So we have a couple of likes. So let's start the video. Oh, it looks like it's a little bit of a time delay, but I don't see any chats in there. So I guess there's nobody to chat with me just yet. But yeah, hey, somebody send a comment here just so I know this is working. And want to know what's going on? What's up? As most of you know, I've blew my Nova up last September. I was making a pass and I learned a very expensive lesson on detonation. I've had a few people comment saying that, this is fuel injection, blah, 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 blah. You can do this kind of a whoopsie with a carburetor too. This had nothing to do with my car being fuel injected. Oh, I got a comment. Hey, who's watching? Hey, Richard, how you doing? Richard, actually, who's joining us there, he is the founder of the other 7374 group, 73-74 Novas. That is the other group for our corporate ears, 7374. So do look that group up. And as I was mentioning, this is something you can do with a carburetor as well, because this had to do with timing. I had too much timing in that pass, and it got too hot, and it went pop, and here we are. So that's what I've been doing. You've also all seen my disc brake upgrade. I've posted a lot of pictures on that. We also replaced the ball joints, the outer tie rod, and with it being manual, that was pretty awesome because we can bleed, we can do whatever we need to without having the need to have the car running to build vacuum or anything. So we think we got that going. My dad came over to help me with that. As you guys know, I used a manual disc kit for the front, but I also went ahead with the right stuff and bought a pre-bent stainless steel brake line kit. And if you read my posts, you know my feelings on that. So we're not going to dwell on that. In fact, I should almost dig out the box from inline 2 just to show you guys the quality difference. So let's see what's going on in the chat here. So far, it's only Rich. Okay, well, we'll keep chatting here. I also want to mention to people, and one of the reasons I haven't done too much of the streaming, and I haven't been very active on the Nova groups, is I had an altercation with a couple of users and another user and friend, Robert Martino. When I give, I guess, advice or comments to that, I'm basing it off my own personal experience. By no way am I telling or trying to tell people that this is the correct way of doing things, that you've got to do it this way, that. I'm just talking out of my own experience from, different paths and parts and stuff that I've installed, that I've wasted thousands of dollars on. And I'm just trying to save people money. The parts that I mentioned with my car, like the Union Pacific headlights I run, or the Holley Sniper EFI that I run, the MSD distributor that I run in the Omega. I'm not trying to say these are the greatest parts out there. Oh, you have to have these parts to go fast. These are parts that I am using myself. I'm not, being paid by any kind of company or that to endorse the products. These are just products I've learned from research or talking to other members who have used these products and that I use on my own. I wouldn't suggest anything to anybody that I wouldn't be prepared to do to my own car. So that has kind of dampened my spirits a bit in posting and wanting to help, because I've gotten into some conflicts, and I don't like conflicts. I just base it on my own experience, and I'm not saying I'm right. Oh man, we have made so many mistakes. I mean, the money I've wasted over the years is a kid. Anyway, hey Christina, how you doing? I believe, Christina, you're from BC, right, in Canada? And if I remember correctly, it's a 4-door. Like I said, it's been a while. Please forgive me. Welcome to the stream. Let us know what you're doing with your car or anything. We'd love to get some kind of a chat going. So we got a few viewers there, 9 viewers, and I guess everybody's kind of quiet there. Hey Dylan, how you doing? Dylan, actually, I've had a lot of chats with you. You're building a 406 for your car. And of course, I've given Dylan advice on the stuff I've done with my 406. Lou, how you doing? Oh, okay, now everybody's coming in. You know what? My eyesight's terrible. I thought this would be a good idea just to get, different scenery, but maybe not because I can't read it. Hey, Josh, how you doing? And hey, Christina. Hey, look at that. I was right. My car recently went into storage. Oh, you're moving again. Well, Christina, we're going to be here when you do have time. Hopefully your move is quick. Are you moving to somewhere with your own garage? Josh, I believe I said hi, but hey, if I didn't, how you doing? Lou messaged me earlier asking me if we were going to be firing up the car tonight. I know when I was posting messages, I've actually been preparing a post in the background with some pictures when Dan was here over the past month putting the motor together. Dan Clem, you guys have heard me mention his name time and time again. And besides being a really good friend, the guy is an engine god, and the skill and knowledge he possesses, I can't even begin to tell you just how high of an opinion I have of this gentleman. He's the reason why my car runs and the Omega runs the way they do, how well they do. He is spec'd, he is done. I can't praise the guy enough. So Dan, if you're watching, thank you again. And I'd say we got this thing about, kind of half together. I got the exhaust finally in, got the starter in. I was working the wire, I was trimming my wiring. I had a bunch of, wire looms with old wiring in that was really cluttering up this area. And I went through the wiring Friday night. I love wiring. And I didn't really have fun with this. I found some wiring stuff that I even asked my dad about, because this car's been, in the family since new, and it's like, who the hell did this kind of butchery? So starter wiring in that is all nice and fresh now, and I used some kind of a foil wrap that's very heat resistant, because the wiring loom kept melting. And then, you have that little, what is it here? This little pipe that bolts onto the transmission that goes down to the starter, your little heat shield here for the starter wiring. And, with all the modifications and the aftermarket starter, this doesn't work so well, and plus that tab broke off. So I used some of this foil sheeting. I don't know the name of it. It was left over from my buddy Derek's car, and I used that. I'll have some pictures. I'll post pictures of it if you guys have any questions. And I haven't had much motivation. You guys have read the ordeals I've posted about delays and shipping and all that. And it's, and then stuff just going on in life. I've kind of had to put this on the back burner, and then just dealing with some stuff. I just haven't had much motivation to get in here and work on it. But the last, couple nights, and then I took this week off of work. I'm hoping to have this running by Friday night, Saturday. And of course, there will be video, and I don't know if I'm going to live stream it just in case something goes wrong. I just don't want to show that, but I don't know, it is what it is. Let's go over to the chat here and see what else is going on. Okay, so Dylan's doing a taillight panel, and currently rockers and floor pans and back half in the car. Wow, Dylan, that's quite a list. Hopefully you're taking a lot of pictures for us, because I'm certainly, I'm interested in seeing the work. I'm interested in everybody's project, really. And I gotta say, we have a lot of talented people in our group. So yeah, Dylan, keep us apprised of that. Richard, he was mentioning to me as well that he was thinking of doing EFI on his car, and thinking about electric fuel pump, switching the valve covers, and a vacuum pump, and various interior parts. Well, like I said, Rich, I'm running the Holy Sniper EFI, and I got the master kit. And the master kit, included the fuel pump. Here, can I get this without dropping anything? Here we go. Here is the it's just like a carburetor, right? The EFI Holy Sniper. And this is just the regular EFI, and I think it's only good up to about 650 horse. But that's more than good enough for me. I'm not too sure about it. I don't think you can use these with boost, but I don't really know. I've never researched it, because I'm not really interested in turbos and nitrous and that, because I do enough damage with just timing. And And then what I did when I bought this is I went, there's various timing options. You can use the sniper to control options, but what I did is I bought the Holley dual sync distributor. Of course, I just cover it up to keep things clean. I bought the Holley dual sync distributor because it plugs right in. Boom! You let the computer and the sniper take care of timing. So this was an extra about $600 Canadian. So I'm assuming that's probably about $350, $400 US, because I also got to pay shipping, all that. But the master kit also came with the fuel line needed for the car. Comes with the filters and all that. I don't know if I ever posted pictures of that. I probably should write something up for you, Richard. I know we said we were going to discuss it, and I dropped the ball on that one. But the fuel injection, man. Did that ever wake up this car? I mean, we used to start, this garage is 26 by 26. I used to start the car, and you let it warm up for a couple of minutes, and my eyes would start to, hurt and bleed because it would run so rich. And I found every few weekends I was cleaning spark plugs, and it had, I'm trying to fix timing and that, and it turned out, I had distributor problems too, which didn't help the overfueling. But I was getting maybe 4 miles per gallon. Not that the EFI gave me a huge amount of power, but what it did is it optimized what I had here based on the settings I inputted into the computer. And my fuel mileage alone pretty much doubled. I think the last calculation I had was 10.48. And see, when I messed up the motor here, I started playing with custom timing tables. And yeah, I don't think that's something I'm going to be doing once this is back together again. But the EFI, man, and I was running originally a dual plane intake with that Holley sniper, and I found that the outer plugs usually looked a little lean, while the plugs in the center area were more kind of a darker brown, and they looked decent, they looked well. But some of the outer ones looked a little lean, and I read on the forums and that. But last June, when I broke that, the spring in my head, when we redid the heads, I went to a single plane intake. That single plane intake fixed how my plugs looked, and all my plugs were a nice golden brown from that forward on. And I also run a 1-inch spacer on top of this. And they say, you run the 1-inch open spacer, well, delegate and kind of, make the dual plane work efficiently like that. Based on my experience, you can't go wrong with the single plane. That 1-inch spacer is not going to alleviate your plugs not reading the same. Really, you got to go with a single plane intake. That's based on my opinion. I'm not telling you need to. And where are we here? Okay, Fox Body Action. Hey, Hunter, look a little to your right here. This is the Nova Hour. Yeah, Christina, unfortunately, no, she's not getting a garage, but maybe eventually, but she's going to sneak some work in. If I remember correctly, Christina, you were doing a rear quarter on that 4-door. Of course, share your pictures with us when you do work on it. And yeah, the housing market here in Manitoba isn't much better, I'm afraid. I got some friends looking for houses right now, and they're, losing their shirt. Sean Hellberg, how you doing, buddy? Sean's got a beautiful 73SS blue with a black vinyl top with slot mags. And the reason I know that one so well, Sean, is I love your Nova. I love the pictures you've taken with them and that you've shared with us in the past. I love your Nova. And then Hunter, the Fox Body Action. That's my 88 Ford Mustang. I bought that just over 10 years ago because I had my 74 Olds Omega sold. But the deal for the Omega fell through, and it's like, well, maybe I'll just keep all 3 cars. But I can't always afford to drive all 3. My storage fell through for the Omega, so right now, or for the Mustang, so the Mustang's at home. And right now the Omega is actually in storage, but I'm going to be picking it up within the next week or two, which is, I'm probably going to twist my parents' arm and see if I can put it in their garage. I've even told my mom she could drive it. just so I can get it out of here. Otherwise, my Omega is going to sit in the backyard or on the front street. And Lou, he's still waiting for his 383 to be assembled. Lou, put it all in the truck. Well, I guess no. I guess the border's closed. Okay, well, forget that idea. I was going to say, bring it up here and sweet talk Dan to put it together. And Josh Sanders did a 4-wheel disc upgrade with a Hydrovan Hydro Boost along with the LS swap. Yes, you know, actually, Josh, I was following you on that because I was very curious on your Hydro Boost swap. Definitely following that for sure. And again, Rich, yeah, if you want, we can talk offline or have a video chat. I can do the best that I can to tell you more about the Sniper. By all means, I'm not trying to say you have to go with Holly. Please investigate all the other options, the Phi-Tech of that. We do have some members that are running the Phi-Tech. I think even a couple of them might be running that Atomizer by Edelbrock. Those are the couple that are off the top of my head. But this is going to be, I believe, the 4th or 5th summer I'm going to be running the Holly Sniper. And if the Canadian dollar, the exchange wasn't so horrible, I'd put another one on the Omega. I mean, I'm running a 650 double pumper on the Omega. And if it wasn't for price, I'd have a Sniper on the Omega. And just, you know, I like just the base Sniper with that Holly dual sync distributor. You know, and this is where I got into an argument with a friend. You don't need the multi-spark boxes by Mallory or by MSD or, you know, the discharge boxes to have all this fancy ignition. As well as that fancy ignition is nice, if something goes wrong, then you're in this nightmare of troubleshooting. And I used to run a Mallory Hi-Fire 6, and it was a great box, never had any trouble with it. But does it really help my application? Like, I was only running at that time maybe 300 horse, and then with the old 406 there, I was running. I know it was 317, 347 at the rear wheels. I don't know what it was at the crank, probably, you know, about 425, 450. But I kept it simple, and I mean, I was still running low 12s. So that's where I've learned over the years is to keep things simple. You don't need all these fancy add-on parts, and I guess that's where I've butted heads with a few other members. I mean, hey, fancy parts are nice, but I believe function's important. All right, here we go. Hey, Daniel, how you doing? Daniel is from Alaska, I believe. And yeah, we're in a bit of a snowstorm here in Manitoba. I see you sent us some cold weather. And, okay, Sean said he's using a 1-inch spacer on his dual plate and the car ran horrible. He switched over to the 4-hole spacer instead. Car ran much better. Also depends on the carbon intake, I suppose. Sean, just wondering what kind of carb you're running and what kind of intake you're running. When I was running my dual plane, I was running a Power Products, or is it Power Products or Professional Products? It was a knockoff of the Air Gap, the Edelbrock Air Gap. And I mean, it ran good, and I can't say I really remember how the plugs were looking when I had the carburetor on. I'm going to say the plugs were fouling up pretty good that time too. And that's when I found out I had a bad distributor. Long story short, I don't know where I was going with that, but I found for the EFI, and based on what I've read on the forums, you want a single plane. But yeah, I definitely would like to know, about your intake in that. And why did I use an open hole spacer versus the 4-hole spacer? In all honesty, Sean, it's what I had on the shelf. It's not that I picked one over the other. It's what I had, and I wanted to use that spacer to get my carburetor up originally back in the day because I got the cowl hood. Which reminds me, I still want to make one of those cowl hoods that you gave me the instructions on. I think that's going on 3-4 years. But it's on the list, right? Like everything else around here. And Christina messaged again. Okay, she's going to do a little bit of maintenance there. She needs to get a starter and do some maintenance on the transmission, maybe a new filter. And I had to push it into storage. Wouldn't go in gear, stay in gear. Oh, I've had that, Christina. That is not fun. That's, yeah, usually the tranny's gone at that point. I don't know much about transmissions, so I couldn't even tell you where to start, but I would probably lean towards the pump. And then, Daniel, I can't blame you. I wouldn't want anyone to see a Mustang in front of my house either. You know what? I've been telling people, because I've been driving the Mustang now for 2 weekends, because it's been a bit of an early spring here. And I've had a few people say, hey, Dave, where's the Nova? Where's the Omega? Why are you driving the Mustang? And I said, guys, in all honesty, I'm driving the Mustang because when I bring the other cars out in a couple weeks, they're going to feel fast. Of course, my Mustang friends didn't like that. Oh, what headlights am I running? Oh, okay. Hunter, I am running the United Pacific 3137.9s. And they are with the white LEDs. It's not a complete halo. It's just the white LEDs. I can send you a message later about them. They use a 9003 bulb here. Let me just run over here. They use a 9003 bulb. And if you look at the back here, we'll plug directly into our harnesses. So that's one of the nice things about these lenses. But the reason why I went with the United Pacific ones myself, in Manitoba here, we have a lot of strict, I want to say, laws regarding cars and equipment on cars. And this is what they use to kind of curb the car scene around here in Manitoba. The equipment you put on your car has to have an SAE or DOT safety rating on it. And that's what these headlights have. They have that SAE DOT safety rating. And I'm told, because on some of the aftermarket lights that don't have these ratings, the plastic or the glass could be of a different material that can either fog or, not produce a bright enough light, whatever the drama is in the background. I wanted to make sure I had something that when the police pull me over, I can go, no, it's legal. So yeah, DOT bulbs as well. I believe they're Sylvania bulbs, and again, 9003, and they plug into the factory harness. So that is the United Pacific 3137.9 with the white LEDs, and I believe there's 17 a side, and they can be wired up individually, the sides, or together, and I have mine wired up together. And I have mine wired up in such a fashion that they come on as daytime running lights with the ignition. And I could share that with you too. Kim has done an excellent job in our group, guys. I probably should have talked about this a little earlier, with the Topics tab. If you go to Topics on your phone, it's just along the top there, or if you're on the browser on your computer on the right side, we have a bunch of topics where we've grouped messages together, and there is information on this in the aftermarket headlights topic. So please visit that because Kim puts a lot of work into those topic tabs. And of course, you can message me too. I can always reply to you. Okay, where was I? Okay, Hunter. Yeah, the headlights he's looking to get us at. Yeah, and I bought them, Hunter. I bought them from Summit Racing, and I believe they were about $70 Canadian, so probably about $60 US each. They don't come as a set. Dave Williams, hey buddy, you made it. Right on. How you doing? Dave, we haven't seen too many updates on your LS Nova. What's going on there? I guess with the COVID thing and all. I know you had your students in your auto class helping you build the car. So give us an update on what you're doing. Dan's giving me an update on the weather in Alaska. It's 45 there, and the snow is melting fast. Yeah, I think it's about. It's in the 30s here right now, and we're just in the middle of a second phase of a snowstorm that's supposed to hit Winnipeg tonight. I really don't care as long as it melts by the weekend and I can go out driving. At least it's happening during the week. Okay, Sean's got some information for me here. He was running the Edelbrock Performer dual-plane spreadboard design with a 1405 carburetor. Sean, that's exactly what I ran on my old 406, which was a lower compression motor. And that was a great combo for me. That worked well. I never had anything bad to say about that. One of the reasons I switched from the Edelbrock carburetor, and the Edelbrock carburetor, again, this is based on my opinion, my experiences. The Edelbrock carburetor is a great carburetor to set and go drive, cruise, have a little fun. But I was starting to, go to the track and race a little, and I started playing and tinkering. And it wasn't so much a carb you could tinker with as much as you could with a Holly. And I had some friends running Hollies on their car, and that's when I made the switch to a Holly 650 double pumper. And when I switched to that, I went to the Q-Jet after the Edelbrock, pardon me, but from the Q-Jet, I went to the Holly because I had put a Holly on the 355 in the Omega I had, and it ran so well. I found it so responsive, nice to tinker with, and I had learned a bit about carburetors now where I knew how to do jetting and stuff like that. And because it ran so well on the Omega, I put one on the Nova as well. And at that time, I also put that MSD Street Fire distributor in, which is kind of a low-end brand of the MSD. And it even says on the box, which I didn't read till 8 years later, this is not for racing applications. Do not spin over 5,500 RPMs. That distributor ran flawless in the Omega for over 8 years, but in this car with the old 406, I had nothing but problems with that, and later on discovered that was the reasoning for what I thought was a fueling problem, because I was changing carburetors and changing temperature ranges of plugs and all that. And it turned out I had a bad distributor that wasn't, firing properly, and that's why I had my plugs fouling up so bad. And that's when I bought that MSD Pro Billet distributor. Man, that cost a pretty penny. That was like a $500 distributor Canadian. And I used that for 3 weeks. It's now in the Omega though, because I went to the EFI and bought the dual sync to go with the Sniper. But that Edelbrock carbon intake, that served me well. And in fact, that intake is still on my old 406 that's just over under the shelf there. Okay, go back to Richard here. Yeah, I'm thinking after I move, I'm going to add more horsepower. Not sure yet. I think I'm going to do dual turbos, just like my Ford has. Whoa, no F words, buddy. So I'm waiting on changing to EFI. So I know how much horsepower. I haven't had much time for my car lately. Because of the virus, working from home. Okay, yeah, it's been a busy time lately for a lot of us, and I guess it's just been almost a year or over a year now that the world has changed. That's the best way I think I can put it. If you're looking for dual turbos, are you doing a dual turbo setup on a small block Chevy, or are you doing it on an LS setup? Just curious. One of my friends, Rob Exner, he's not on the group. He has a twin turbo LS 74 Nova. You guys have probably heard me talk about it in the past. He has a YouTube channel, SPP TV, if you want to check it out. Right now he's doing a rack and pinion conversion on his Nova, so I've been following that. But the dual turbo setup on his Nova, very impressive. I myself, I've never looked into turbos. I've never looked into Pro Chargers. More because I don't have the money to start experimenting and stuff like that, but I don't know them, and getting older, I don't want to learn anything new. I'm finally learning how to adjust the carburetor. Then I switched to EFI, and I'm starting to learn EFI, and then I blew up a motor. So, I'm tired of learning through my wallet, man. But also my old 406 by accident was 12.6 to 1 compression, so thinking of adding any power adders to that was kind of out of the question. So for the last 8-9 years, I've always looked out of the way. This motor that's in here now is a 10 to 1 compression. So, who knows, maybe down the road, but I got to get it back together first. But yeah, definitely keep us apprised of that, Rich. Definitely like to know more. And Hunter looks really good. I like the LED ones. Been looking at buying a set. Now, I really tossed and turned about buying a set 2 Hunter until I came across these ones. In fact, my neighbor put them in his girlfriend's car. He put the other ones. I don't know what the number of it is, but they have the yellow LEDs, which he hooked up with signal lights, and then it looks really cool. But I went with the white because I wanted something as a daytime running light. But I've been really happy with these United Pacific ones. But there's also that other brand out there, the other company, Octane Lighting. Originally, I looked at the Halos, but none of them were DOT at the time. But I've seen that since, in the past couple of years, his stock has changed and that, and a lot of his stuff now is DOT and SAE certified. So definitely look up Octane Lighting as well as United Pacific. And, oh yeah, the laws you guys have in Canada are ridiculous. I guess that's open to interpretation. In some forms, Rich, these laws have kept a lot of beaters and junkers off the road. In the 25 years that I've cruised here in Winnipeg, there's been a lot of cars on the road that shouldn't have been on the road, that were unsafe, or people just, they cut corners, and obviously accidents happen, people got hurt, and that's why the laws are the way they are. Here in Winnipeg, the car scene's always been big, and as much as you have your enthusiasts, you also have your troublemakers, whether it's muscle car, import, or whatever. I'm not trying to say one group is worse than the other, but it does paint a bad seed because we're all looked as one, and the way they combat that is they put these ridiculous laws in to try and curb the cruisers, or try and make it safer. But yeah, that's a debate for another time. Brian Turner, how you doing, buddy? 80 in Arizona. Oh, I was in Arizona, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. A girl I was seeing at the time had some family down there. Beautiful place. I'd love to go back. And I really wish I would have known or been part of this group, I guess, back then and posted, because that would have been a great time to meet a lot of you. But yeah, that was beautiful. And Daniel, whoa, was minus 30 on Friday. Ew, yeah. I'm assuming that's Celsius or Fahrenheit you're talking about. That's still going to be cold weather regardless. And Christina is telling us that it's 16 in BC. I'm thinking, Christine, you mean Celsius there? Because these guys talking Fahrenheit, and these Americans, they haven't quite caught up to us yet. So, Dave Williams, I put hold work-wise. Now he's just, now that I can drive it, I'm enjoying it. Plus, I'm out of money at the moment. I have to say, it does some killer one-wheel burnouts. If you guys got time for a story, and you don't have a choice because it's my stream, when I first bought the Olds Omega, it had a one-wheel wonder too, and oh yeah, I used to love doing those one-wheel burnouts. I'd get home Saturday night, pull in the garage, jack it up, swap the tires around, and hey, Sunday night was a good night. And your tires last twice as long. But Dave, I'm glad to hear that you're driving it and enjoying it. That's awesome. And yeah, out of money. I can relate to that because I'm into quite a bit for this motor. What I had to do actually is I went to the bank, and I went to the bank last summer because I wanted to see about getting some money to do the body work, because you guys don't see it in the pictures, but I mean it's rusted, it's bad, and I wanted to get some money to do the body work, and they told me, Dave, we're not going to give you that kind of money to sink into a 50-year-old car. It's not a good investment, yada yada yada. So I went back in September, and when they told me, if you wanted to get some money, come see us if you want to do house rentals, because there's value in the house. So I went back in September after I blew the motor, went to my banker, I said, yeah, I want to renovate my bathroom. That's my new bathroom sink. But I also got a second job that I've been working. In fact, I worked on it today. That's why nothing got done on the Nova. Took holidays from my first job to work in my second job. Tell me how that makes sense. And I should have this thing paid off rather shortly, hopefully. And I eat a lot of Kraft dinner. White cheddar. 92, 93, the heat is on. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Yeah, good to see you too. Thanks for joining us. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done this, and I really wanted to do this more often, but I've also kind of run out of things to talk about. But now I got some stuff to talk about, because now I've done a disc brake conversion on this thing, and now, building this motor. Gonna be some interesting stories to tell shortly. Dan is running a Platronics in his 70 Nova for 16 years, works flawless. I've heard really good things about those Petronic distributors, and the nice thing about those distributors is they're a smaller distributor that runs with an external coil. And I can't remember which 73, 74 group we talked about this, but in these cars, some of them you can't fit the HEI big cap distributor in because it hits the firewall. I've hammered my firewall in to make it fit. I don't know if you can see this here, but I have this rubber inner tube that I've cut and screwed and riveted against my firewall because that cap was so close, I was getting arcing when I had some low quality wires. I've never taken it off. I've always left it there, but that was one of the downsides about the 73s. And I think some 74s had the indent, some may not. I guess depends on production date. I know my Omega is a 74. It fits in no problemo. But the Petronics were nice because they were a small distributor that ran with an external coil like you see there, that big red block. Kevin's asking me if I got all my parts yet. Yes, Kevin, got all my parts. I don't know if I talked about the problems we ran into with the balancer not fitting and it being defective. Ended up ordering another balancer, waited 3 weeks for it, 3 painful weeks. Was it 3 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks. No, it was longer than that. Well, I waited painfully for it. When we got it here, it did the same thing this balancer did. It turns out the crank that I've installed in here, I got an Eagle crank in here now. It turns out that the snout is slightly oversized, and Dan was able to machine the Power Bond, the original balancer I bought, the Power Bond, what's that called, balancer, and now it fits on perfectly. And the other one that I spent $500 on, Canadian, no, it wasn't 500. Man, am I mixed up here? It was $297 US. Oh, that's right, because I bought tools as well. So basically a $300 balancer. Dan's now taking it. He's going to sell it for me on a motor he builds. But it turned out we were able to use the original balancer in. So yeah, we finally got all the parts, all said and done. As you can see, the motor's in. We got the replacement lifter. It's all in. The motor's all sealed up. On Good Friday, I had some friends come over and they basically twisted my arm. We got it in because I haven't been too motivated to work on it. Took us about an hour and a half to get it in because it just wouldn't sit right. I swear every time I take this motor out, it gets harder and harder to put back in like it doesn't want it. But yeah, it's slowly coming along. As I mentioned earlier, I took this week of work off because I wanted to have it running by the end of the week. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. But you guys will know, of course. Okay, and then Rich, on a small block Chevy, I'm building another motor for the car. I'm thinking of adding to that, but I'm also considering alternative power source. Building another motor for. I'm not too sure what you mean by that, Rich. You mean alternative power source? Are you thinking like power, like power adder kind of thing, or are you talking like an electric engine? Now that would be cool. Hey, Brian. Oh yeah, yeah, we are okay. And then I'm sweating. I'm not, as you can see, I'm wearing a sweater. It's about what is it in the garage here? I had to turn the heat back on actually last week. It is 50 degrees in here. Yeah, heater's turned on. Yes, it's about 50 degrees in here, which for me is comfortable enough because once you start working, sweating, swearing, you warm up. Sean, yeah, that's a great investment. It's a very pricey sink, Dan, and as you can see, I don't have faucets for it yet. Patrick, how you doing, buddy? Patrick Newman with that beautiful black 74. I don't remember if it's an SS or not, but I know it's a 74, but it's beautiful. And yeah, teachers don't make much. Oh, Dave, you should read the news here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and the controversy the government's stirring with teachers. I feel so bad for teachers, man. Like, we have teachers that are spending their own money to buy school supplies and supplies for class because the government can't find the funding, yet they're getting a 1.9% raise retroactive to April 2020. I feel very bad for teachers. Not only that, but teachers got to put up with such snotty kids sometimes today. Anyway, hey, Doug Toe, how you doing, brother? Doug's my long-lost brother he's out in Washington on the West Coast, I believe. And he is also the founder of the Chevy Nova group and Chevy Nova 2.0. How you doing, Doug? Good to see you. Thank you for joining. And Doug says Daniel, he just came back and said he had to hammer his firewall for his HEI in his 73 as well. Am I going to run pump gas or race fuel? Oh, man. Pump gas, of course, I can't afford to drive it. With the amount of mileage I put on this, and I daily drive it, I'm still going to stick with pump gas. A thing has just happened here in Manitoba in the last month and a half, where Husky is discontinuing their 94 octane. And that's what I ran in my old 406. Again, my old 406 was 12.6 to 1 compression, which was a mistake on my part because I can't do math. It's supposed to be 11 and a half. Didn't carry the one, and the next thing you know, you're buying premium gas. Anyway, this one here, when I bought new pistons, I bought 10 to 1 pistons, and it actually turned out I had to buy connecting rods as well, because one of the connecting rod in the number 2 cylinder with the number 2 piston, wherever it went, it was damaged as well. I can't remember if Dan says it was twisted or tweaked or bent, but it wasn't perfect like the other rods. So we have new rods, new pistons, new crank, and I also went with a roller cam. That cost a lot. That was almost $1,100 with the lifters. Again, Canadian, shipping, exchange, crap, tax. And I went with a cam one size smaller than the old one I had in here. I used to have the Extreme Energy 294 by Comp Cams. I'm now running the Extreme Roller 288. And I don't know those specs off by heart yet. I haven't memorized that. But the idea is to run still premium gas, which I think is 91 or 92 based on you go with Esso or Petro-Canada or Co-op or Shell. Based on my experience and from what I've seen from friends' motors that have been on the dyno, the Shell 91 gas seems to perform very well up here. So I might lean towards that way and go with the Shell gas. The problem is there's not too many Shell gas stations in my area or the area I drive in. So I might just go back to Co-op and run their 91 premium. I run the Co-op mid-grade in the Omega. The Omega I think is 10.5 to 1. And I've never had a problem with Co-op gas, so I might go back that way. Are we having pizza tonight? No, Patrick. The pizza budgets for this past week has been cut a bit, but I did have some tasty baked spaghetti with cheese with pizza sauce instead of meat sauce at Garwood Grill in Winnipeg. But really, I should have had the pizza because that's what I was craving. That's what I wanted. And so maybe tomorrow. But after I'm done this, like I had the spaghetti about 4 o'clock. It's almost 9 o'clock now. So for supper, I'm going to have my usual white cheddar craft dinner. Oh, Sean did the same thing too a few months ago. Bought a new distributor cap, pulled the distributor out, and went to town. Oh, man, when I was banging in my firewall, if you guys get another story time, I was hammering away. And then after we had the motor, we had everything sent. It was so tight. I pulled the cap off. I thought I'm just going to hammer it a couple more times. And I went to hammer it. And I used a 2x4 because everything was in the car now. And the 2x4 split and the hammer went down and I went right through my original fan shroud. And my fan shroud was mint. Well, it was mint till I removed it with the rest of the hammer. Man, that's how I know the fan shrouds from a 75 to 79 Nova will work in our Nova. And in fact, they are a little wider depending how you get your fan spacing, the spacer you use on your water pump. If you find you can't get your fan far enough forward, if you go to a 75, 79 fan shroud, they're just a little wider and they'll work. But yeah, I still to today, that still saddens me that I shattered my original fan shroud. Oh, diesel. Okay, that's what Richard's talking about. Richard's thinking of changing his 73 Nova over to diesel power. That's pretty cool. Brian Turner is rubbing it in that he has the cooler on in his garage, as I have the heater on in mine. And then Dave, spending my own money on crap all the time. Well, that's me. Brian loves compression, as do I. Compression is power, right? And that's one of the reasons why I splurged, because I was coming down from 12.6 to 10.0, and I figured I'm going to lose power. And you see I have the license plate that says runs 12s. Well, I got to live up to my license plate. So what I did is I upgraded the heads from the ProComp Casting 64 cc's to some Brodex Track 1 series aluminum heads. Oh, did those cost a pretty penny. It was so bad that in my craft dinner, I started grinding up the box it came in just to add filler, just so my stomach was full. And, okay, yeah, Pat's, his is just a custom, not an SS. That's what I thought, because if I remember correctly, you have the Chevy symbol in your grill instead of an SS. But, yeah, Patrick, love your Nova. Love that blacked out look, black bumpers. When I see your Nova, that really makes me think of blacking out my Omega, like the bumpers and all that. Like, I can't do that to this car. I mean, I gotta stay green, because, you know, Team Green. If I ever painted this thing black, well then, you know, Daniel and I could join forces. But we also do have a mutual understanding between Team Green, Team Black. But that's a story for another time. Brian Turner's running, whoa, 13.2 with avgas. Wow. Obviously a lot of timing in that, eh, Brian? And hey, Brett Jensen, a long-time friend of mine. How you doing? A new Engine Masters today showing the differences on fuels. Oh. Wow, okay, that's good to know. I'll have to look it up. Brett, thank you very much for that, because, yeah, I'm always trying to learn more. And, yeah, I definitely would like to know about gases, because you hear so many guys argue about gas the lots. Well, I run this, I run that. And you ask them, well, why? And nobody knows. So I'm going to watch that. That's cool. Thank you. Brian Turner loves good pizza. Brian, you should be on my Facebook personal page, because I'm always posting pictures of pizza from Garwood Grill, or the cheap ones I buy, the Giuseppe pepperoni and cheese from Walmart or Safeway when they go on sale for $3.99, because I'll send me a slice. I don't know if that would make it across the border because of the meat restrictions, and of course I don't think I can ship meat products across the border. What size intake runners? I don't know these stats off by heart yet. Again, they are the Brodex Track Series 1. I want to say they're 210. Because the old ProComp ones I had were 195s. I want to say these are 210 runners. Don't quote me on that. And Kevin is asking Brett for a summary of that episode. Should have chosen AFR heads, Dave. Now, I went back and forth between Brodex and the AFRs. And the reason I went with the Brodex is the AFRs made me a little nervous when you're, I guess maybe it was the ones I was looking at. But when you set up your valve guides and that, the valve guides are all individual per cylinder, and although, you know, that would be Dan's problem, not mine. I kind of liked the way that the Brodex head had the non-adjustable ones where you just kind of set them and forget them. And really, when I priced out the two heads, they were the same in price. I lean more towards Brodex. Not because I like Brodex better than AFR. I really don't know the difference between the two. But I have a friend with his 72 Nova, and I listened to the horror stories he had setting up his heads with those valve guides and that in his Nova, and he's running a 383 stroker, and that's why I leaned more towards the Brodex heads, just because it's simpler for me. And Rich is saying that he runs the AFR heads on his. How do you find those heads, Rich, for setting up then? Do they have the individual valve guides on those heads. And yeah, pricey. AFR, Brodex, they're both pricey. I mean, they hurt. And yeah, Dan, yeah, black is beautiful. Yeah, 42 degrees timing. Ooh, that's a lot. And Pat Newman, Team Black all the way. Well, of course, with Team Black, you got Team Green. It's got your back. And I do have a black hood, so I kind of go undercover between the two. Another funny story. My cowl was black. And the reason it's black is because I swapped it quickly with the Omega one day because I put that external fuel gauge I had on here, I put on the Omega, and I wasn't going to drill a hole into another cowl. So I quickly switched them and I put black on here. And I found out, because I haven't painted this green yet, with this being black, I'm supposed to now change the registration of my car to it being a black car. That's what our insurance company is saying. I can't register this car as green because my cowl is black. So, in my way of rebelling, I left it black. Plus, it matches the hood. Lou and Rich are both happy with their AFR heads. And he's going to order another set soon. And Brett's giving us a little update here. No real power difference. All like the same timing too. The E85 was the only fuel that made more power. And Brian Turner is running dart heads. Oh, Brian, yeah, I couldn't afford those. In fact, I don't know why I didn't look at the dart heads. That too may have been something, and I'm not going to say I'm pinning this on Dan Clem, but I always tell Dan what I want, and Dan gives me options, and I may have been blind and heard him. I don't know if he gave me the option, or it may have been a money issue too. But I like the Brodex. Yeah, that's going to look pretty this summer. I'm so nervous for this motor, guys. I'm not even going to lie. Oh, dart iron heads. Oh, interesting. And then Patrick and Dan, yeah, they're talking about their black Novas there. So we'll let Team Black have their little team meeting here. I don't know what else to say. Again, I base my choices off my experiences and things I read in that. It's not because I think they're the best or anything like that. Or on, what I see on other people, what other parts people run on their cars. That too heavily influences my decision, especially with the seatbelts. As I've spoken before, I've upgraded my seatbelts to 3-point retractable ones from Morris Classic Concepts. The reason I went with Morris Classic Concepts over, seatbelts.com or any of the other groups is my friend Pat in his 71 Nova had these exact ones in his car. I got to see how they were installed. I got to feel, I got to, you got to touch them and look at them. And I really liked how they were in his car, sounding and clicked. And that's why I went with Morris. It wasn't because one is better than the other. So please, again, investigate all your brands. But that's why I like Morris, because I saw them in another Nova, and they've been great. They keep me safe. Not only that, but another reason I did the upgrade is that, again, they changed the laws here in Manitoba that if you had the 2-piece seatbelt system, which the 73 Novas do, you have to use the shoulder strap with the lap belt. Well, with that shoulder strap not being retractable, oh, did that drive me nuts. That lasted all of about 2 days. And then, replying to Brian Admian, well over 50,000 and still going. All said and done in this car, this is going to be year number 26 with all the different motors and builds. Again, this is going to be motor build number 5. I'm on transmission number 9, and not necessarily, blown up transmissions. Just every time I've had them on, I've freshened them up or fixed them. And some of them I have blown up, but transmission number 9. Yeah, it adds up. I'm into this Nova. I haven't even touched the body with the interior being redone there last season. Tires and stuff like that. And I've spent probably close to 66,000 Canadian on this car in 26 years. So yeah, and I don't even want to add up the exact number. I added up the number on this motor, which I don't want to share right now. And I actually have stopped counting because it actually got me depressed enough that I didn't come into the garage for a while. And even when I look at it now, I'm starting to wonder if I've made mistakes. I start doubting. I start second thinking options because, you know, when I was ordering stuff, it's like, yeah, hey, why not? Yeah, hey, why not? Oh, it's only a little extra this. It's only a little extra that. Oh, now that I've seen the bills, it's a lot. Ha! Brian's cheap. Oh, Brian, you haven't seen my Omega, have you? My Omega is cheap of cheap. I mean, my air dam in the front of the car is made out of old license plates from the junkyard. And there, I've caught up in the chat. And look at that, we're almost at about an hour too. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I guess that's it for what I have to say. You know, what's going on, folks? We still got about seven viewers. Oh, there's only 7 viewers. What the heck? Ah, I guess it's only 7 people that matter. Haha. Oh, 6. Okay, so I just upset somebody. And then Pat said his total's probably under 10K, and he's had it for 60 years. He's lucky his buddy's a painter, and we do a lot of trading. Oh, Pat, isn't that the truth when you have a friend who you can trade services with or trade trades with? And that's where I'm really lucky with Dan Clem being a really good friend. You know, when he builds the motors for me, he gives me a really good deal when he has to do machining or on his labor. And I don't even want to know what this would cost me for machining and that if I didn't have Dan as a friend. Not only that, but Dan is so meticulous and particular, and there's some things that he's caught that has saved me probably thousands of dollars down the road too. So yeah, when you can trade trades, that'll save you a lot of money. Like just sitting here again, guys, when I was talking about, you know, things going on in my mind, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at, you know, the manual disc here, and I look at these lines and how they're not, you know, nice like the other ones. And I know we had a discussion on the group about bends like this versus bends that are supposed to be like this. Well, that also set me for a loop too, because I really started doubting and questioning things. But it is what it is. But they aren't as nice as my original OEM, so that set me kind of twitching. And then I think about the back lines and how they're not as nice as that inline tube. And I've already started saving up. I'm probably going to buy that inline brake stainless steel tube and switch out those lines because my OCD twitches. I've doubled my medication and prescriptions are getting expensive. But I'm fussy. I'm very fussy. You wouldn't know it if you look at the car because of the bodywork, but I mean in terms of stuff I do in that, I'm very fussy. I like it to be, you know, as close to perfect as possible. Okay, what kind of headers and exhaust am I running? Oh, wait a sec, I skipped somebody. Dan Turner, he's in under 10 grand on his. I'd say, Brian, on my Omega there, if you don't count the spare short block I have under the workbench, I'm into it for 10 grand. But I'm also talking Canadian guys versus your American. So my 66 grand Canadian may be around 40, 45-ish, give and take your exchange American. What kind of headers and exhaust systems are you running, Dave? Well, I'm running the Hooker headers, the 2451 HKRs. And I used to have, what were those other ones? The Headman headers on here. But I ended up changing them 2 years ago because I had a split in the collector. And those Headman headers I was running for 19 years. I got 19 years out of those headers, which I guess you got to divide that by 4 because I only run it one season, but you know, one season out of the year. But 19 years, and then where it split on the collector, I ended up buying the Hooker headers. I ended up with going with Hooker because I have the Hooker headers on my 74 Oldsmobile, which is running a small block Chevy. And those were given to me by a buddy who just donated the parts when I switched it to a V8. Not because one brand is better than the other. And they fit so well on the Omega, I just ordered the same set. And actually they were, probably about $60 cheaper Canadian than Headman headers. So that's why I went with these. Another reason why, too, is the Headman ones have the ball and cup ends on there. And the more I think about it now, the more I probably should have splurged. And the reason I went with the hookers, I figured they would bolt right up to the exhaust on the car. And then that would save me money because then I wouldn't have to, change for the head and headers for the ball and cup. Well, I had to spend money to get the exhaust to hook up to these headers anyway, so I should have probably have gone Headman. But hooker headers, 2451 HKR. I mean, they're great. There's lots of room around the manual steering. And in my Omega, it has power steering. I noticed that they were touching. And I don't know if that's because, we race and the motor moves around or what. But it has clearance itself. But it is a lot tighter in the Omega. And for the exhaust from the collector back is 3-inch all the way to back behind the back wheels with MagnaFlow 3-inch mufflers. I do have the MagnaFlow muffler number on my chevynova.ca website, along with all the other part numbers of all the parts I do use on my car, if anyone's ever looking for part numbers. But that's what I'm running for exhaust. I believe these headers are 1 5/8. Depending how, and again, when I bought these headers, that was a couple years ago based off the old 406, not this motor. I may upgrade to 1 3/4. We'll see how this runs first, and if I continue to want to eat craft dinner. Where am I here? Okay, Nova. It's a Nova. Can't be more perfect than that. Thanks, Dan. But you like to show pride in your work and all that, and I want to show, when I open the hood. And the other thing I've always told people is you always buy brand name parts. You're going to pay a little more for it now, but in the long run, you're going to save. Like I've seen people who buy, knockoff parts or parts, off eBay specials, and things break, things blow up and that. And usually when one thing goes, it'll take a bunch of other stuff out with it. And I've seen some guys lose catastrophic failures because they bought a cheap timing chain and saved $40 on eBay. I went with the Comcam. I even upgraded my timing chain on here. I was running the old 3100 before. That's the one here that's missing teeth. I got to get some dentures for it. But on the back here, this is where it rides against the block. I upgraded this to the Comcam 7100 series because it has a piece here that's a bearing. I thought, hey, that's cool. Yeah, why not? So I saw the final bill. Wow. But, yeah, again, spend more now to save later, right? I got to follow my own words. Hey, what do you think, guys? Do you think this was a better angle and this was a better way of me doing a stream versus standing in front of my tool blocks with the Mustang behind me? Or do you think the other way I've done in the previous shows was better? Please let me know. I always want to improve. And yeah, Brian Turner loves his headband with the ball socket collector. If I do upgrade my headers, Brian, I am going to go that way because, I've spent so much money now that what's another couple $100, right? I think that's what I do. And Brian's taken off. Good show. Well, thank you, Brian. Of course, the show wouldn't be good without you guys, your questions, and your involvement here. So thank you guys for being a part of this. Really enjoyed the conversation with all of you. And I really got to start doing this more often. I apologize for not doing this more or being more involved in the group as of late. I've had a lot going on in real life. And I just haven't had time. So I apologize to you guys. Because I enjoy this too. I enjoy talking to you guys. Like, it's Nova stuff, right? Oh, cool. Okay, so we got 2 people who like it this way. Right on, Pat and Brian. Right on. I'm hoping next time, I won't have the car up in the air and you guys will be able to see more. And hopefully the volume's good. I have the mic over there, just out of range. I didn't have a long enough USB cord to put it here, so hopefully I'm not yelling too loud. But thank you guys for your feedback. And I don't know if anybody caught this, but a little bit of product placement here for the right stuff. And a little product placement here for Summit Racing. With all the money I spent at Summit this winter, they could have at least sent me a t-shirt. And I even noticed they're not sending stickers. What's up with that? Okay. Well, yeah, you know, Rich, life, right? So, but thank you guys again for being a part of this. And I have been debating, because I know you guys have been asking, you want to see this motor when it runs. Dan will probably be here when we do the fire up of it. I'm going to ask him if he's okay with it, because I don't know how he feels. Again, I have mixed feelings, because if there's a problem, it may not be very PG-13. Again, a lot of money, and if it doesn't start, I'm going to have a lot of emotions. That's the safest way to put it. Oh, and the other thing, I still got to somehow work my drive shaft loop in. Maybe I'll save that for the next stream, because I wasn't able to put this in, and I'll tell you guys why on another stream. That'll leave you wanting to come back for more. So I guess we can kind of wrap it up, unless you guys got some things to say. Thanks, Kevin. Oh, Kevin, Jags is cheaper. Now, Kevin, the reason why I go with Summit Racing is the shipping to Canada. Jags is great. Don't get me wrong. I have bought parts from Jags. But with Summit, with shipping to Canada, it gets a little tricky with now you start doing duty, exchange, taxes and that. But Summit's return policy, warranty policy is so superior that I will pay that little extra to go to Summit. When I did the disc brakes, I got the wrong calipers with the kit. They sent me new calipers. I got the machining problem with the balancer. They're sending me a replacement balancer. Now, I've called them to cancel that, because Dan, being a machinist, was able to machine the balancer, got it working, so we got that fixed up. But when I ordered the other parts for the kit, I was missing the bolt kit for the intake. Summit, boom, sends it, and it's here in a week. So that's why I've gone with Summit over Jags, but I have ordered stuff from Jags. Jags is cool. Jags is good. Problem with Jags is when I get the shipping here, that's where it gets a little, and then I get hit with, you know, the UPS and their brokerage, and oh, don't get me started on UPS. You guys saw what happened to my brake lines. Richard, I hate stickers. I'll send you mine. They just collect in a drawer. I've actually just kept mine in a drawer too, but I have a handful of Summit ones too, and I've given a ton away to my niece and to my little stepdaughter and that. But I noticed the last few orders I got, I didn't get any stickers, and it's actually kind of nice, because then I don't feel bad that they're going to go to waste. So, you know, on that note, guys, and also I started playing hockey again. Being with the COVID, I know, you know, a lot of us, we haven't been doing anything, and then with stuff going on, I put on a lot of weight since last summer, and since February, when the restrictions lightened up a little bit, I started playing ball hockey and sponge hockey again. And since playing in February, and now I'm playing during the week. And in fact, I even got in on the women's division on their practice, because they don't have enough goalies, which has been kind of fun. I'm down 25 pounds, so that's helped too. I don't, or 15 pounds, sorry. I'm down 15 pounds, which helps, because I don't, you know, want to step in front of the camera when I look like a whale. So a little self-conscious there too. But you know what, guys? Maybe we'll do this again in a week or two, or if not sooner, if I get this together. And yeah, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a part of Chevy Nova 7374, our group, and sharing your stories, your builds, your pictures. And keep those pictures coming. As you guys know, I change the cover picture twice a week. I haven't been so diligent on it. Like I was always doing it Monday, Thursday. Give or take, somebody's getting an extra day here or there. But please keep those pictures coming. And if you can, get a nice side shot, because those look really good as cover pictures. I don't care if your car's apart like this. I don't care if it's a trailer queen up on a hoist or whatever. We showcase everything. Everything. So yeah, give me those pictures. Maybe I'll post up a thing asking for cover pictures. Thank you very much for joining us. And Rich, we'll definitely hit up sometime. We'll chat with that EFI if you want to talk a little more about it. And guys, check out Rich's group. Again, I'm going to give a plug to 73-74 Novas. That's the other 73-74 Nova group. Definitely check that out. So, again, I'm Dave Meyer from Chevy Nova 73-74. Smoke tires, not drugs. We'll see you guys again. Have a good night.